Hey everyone. Today we're going to take a look at 3 sports games for the Master System. Great baseball, great football, and great golf. I was originally going to squeeze them all into one video, but I realized after editing the football footage that I had enough to make an entire video out of that, so I'll probably do 3 total. Now these are the first games that I've shown here that use the classic, regular Sega Master System box art. You get the graph paper pattern, you get a little picture in the lower left-hand corner, and you get the name of the game. That's all you get. On the back, there are little blurbs about the game, which, when you read them, you'll wonder if the person who wrote it ever played the games first. Oftentimes, they're completely inaccurate. Now, Sega systems have generally been considered to have the best sports games of their era, all the way from the Sega Genesis up through the Dreamcast. These are an exception. The great sports games on Sega Master System were anything but. They're absolutely terrible, every single one of them. I've only got 3 right now. I imagine that I'll be picking up more in the future, simply because if you buy somebody's collection or any group of games at the same time, if you buy a lot, you're going to get some of those in it. I don't have the instructions for any of these sports games. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. They're not even fun to play. Classic warning: for use with the Sega system only. Only the Sega system. So don't put it in your PS3. You will break it. So here we have the title screen of Great Football. And as you can hear, there's a little catchy tune playing. Yeah, the music that it plays, the little tunes that it plays are actually kind of catchy, and probably the best part of this game. Not really saying much, because everything else is far, far worse. Now, for some reason, every time I tried to select NFC, it didn't let me. I think it was actually an issue with my emulator or the control setup. Something was fishy there, but whatever. We're going to play as the Foxes versus the Huskies. Red versus blue. Classic matchup. Now, one thing that you might find strange right off the bat is the opposing team automatically kicks off to you. You always start on offense. And you run up the field, and the guys come up and tackle you. No way to dodge them at all. You just can't do it. Another strange thing that you might notice here is it's now the 4th quarter, and they have 21 points. This is the play selection field, where you wait for it to get to the play that you want to play, and then hit a button. Then you have to wait for it to go through all the other ones. I assume that was included so that when you're playing 2 players, you can juke your opponent into thinking that you picked one play when you actually picked something else. Kind of clever. Doesn't work for single player mode. You're not going to fool the computer with something like this. Doesn't work. Also, that last play, don't recommend just trying to rush their line. Doesn't work. Now, at this point, I start trying to attempt passing plays because, well, that's what you do in football. But I couldn't get it to pass. I assume there's a way to do it. I couldn't get it to work. Just would not throw the ball. Every time. Just stood there and waited to get tackled. So that sucks. Eventually I catch on to this and start running the ball. And I actually do fairly well for a little while. But not well enough to actually win. Back to the fact that it's the 4th quarter. Yes, the game does start you at the beginning of the 4th quarter. You always play offense. You cannot play defense. Once you run out of downs, it puts you back a first down and knocks you back 10 yards. That's all it does. It says here, 10-yard penalty, try again. I guess you could argue that this allows for a dramatic comeback style of gameplay. You've got 15 minutes on the clock to score 3 touchdowns and then a field goal or another touchdown. But it's not easy, especially considering you can't pass. Now here I actually get, I think, 24 yards? I ran that ball 24 yards. That was not bad. And I do that a few times. I end up able to advance my way up the field here pretty quickly. At this point, I'm just showing the actual plays, and I cut out the ones that were really bad. You'll probably notice the clock changing dramatically between plays. But I wanted to spare you the boredom. This game took me 20 minutes to play the 4th quarter. which is, I don't know, I think it's fairly slow pace for a football video game. All in all, I'd say this game doesn't look bad. It's a Sega Master System game. They tended to look pretty good in general. The Master System had a much more expansive color palette available to it than the Nintendo did, so the games tended to look better. But the gameplay is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. There's no reason that you couldn't have a short burst of speed, say, once per play, if you're running the ball. There's also no reason that you shouldn't be able to pass the ball in a football game. Now that there was just ridiculous. They broke right through my line and tackled me. I had like one frame of movement. It was just impossible for me to do anything. That happened a couple times in this game, which is only one quarter. So you can imagine if this game let you play a full game, how unfair it would be. I made a touchdown there. The ref came out just to make sure that I crossed the goal line. For some reason, I stopped at the goal line. Now I get to try for either a field goal or a 2-point conversion. I went for the conversion. I made it. Flying colors. But it only gave me 1 point. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in football, when you make a 2-point conversion, you get 2 points. But not in this game. Then after you make a touchdown, they kick the ball back off to you. You try desperately to avoid them while running it back up the field and fail. So now I'm back at the 30-yard line. I just skipped ahead until I got back up the field, and they bullshit tackled me again. No chance to do anything. Just, nope, sorry. Go directly to jail, lose it down, do not pass go. Here I attempt a field goal. Not even close. And it turns out that was the worst possible thing that I could do, because obviously once you fail a field goal, yeah, that's right, they kick it all the way back down the field to you. Let's see how far I get this time. There we go, not even the 30-yard line this time. This game is so unfair. I tried a passing play again, I don't know why. Didn't work again, as expected. Now, I will admit, I don't know a whole lot about the history of football video games. I've played very few of them. My favorite is still Madden 95 on the Super Nintendo. Granted, that obviously didn't come out until 1995. This game came out in 1987, and it wasn't until 2 years later in 1989 that the first really good football game was released. At least, the first really good football game that I've played, and that was of course Tecmo Bowl for the NES. And then 2 years after that, there was Tecmo Super Bowl, which was also on the NES, and that's still widely considered to be the best American football game ever released for any system, and it's still played competitively online to this day. If you had a Sega Master System back in the day, and you were a football fan, you probably grudgingly played great football for 2 years, then went out and picked up a Nintendo and a copy of Tecmo Bowl. At no point did you regret your decision, and 2 years after that, Tecmo Super Bowl came out. You bought it, and then shit your pants at its sheer awesomeness. Thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next time for more crappy great sports games.